Part 4. Rewrite the fate and change the future. A year later, a small building with 4 horses pulled by horses appeared in a small fishing village on the coast of the East China Sea. And a traveling doctor wearing a black mask also appeared. In the capital, in the Kaifu Inn, a storyteller is talking endlessly. A year ago today, it was the decisive battle between the leader Di of the Golden Yuan Alliance and Li Lianhua of the Sigyamen. And it was drizzling in the sky and the sea was choppy. Those two killed the sky and the earth was dark, and the moon was dark. But in the end, only Di Fei Sheng came back from the sea alone. Li Lianhua is missing, life and death are unknown. Sigyamen heard the news that the whereabouts of his own door owner were unknown. So he searched everywhere, but he never found anyone, but he was afraid that he had already been buried in the East China Sea. How's it going, Li Lianhua? Is the story good? Said Di Fei Sheng, who was sitting at the table, and smiled. Li Lianhua's eyes were confused, and he shook his head again and again. Who is Li Lianhua? What's more, you also heard that Li Lianhua has been buried in the East China Sea. I am Li Lianhua, don't shout wrong next time. Di Fei Sheng also shook his head. I really don't understand your inexplicable and pathetic stubbornness. Everything has changed. Is there any difference between Li Lianhua and Li Lianhua? Oh, Leader Di, how many times have I said it? Why are you so brainless? It's really a tendon. Li Lianhua muttered carefully and rolled his eyes. Okay, let's get down to business, now that you and I have recovered from our injuries. It's time to go to the palace. I need you to help me lure Xuanyuan Shao away, and I'll go to the Paradise Tower alone to bring back the mother's hemorrhage. Di Fei Sheng heard Li Lianhua say this, and looked at him with a solemn face. Li Lianhua, I want to borrow my mother's stumbling pills to relieve your worms. Huh? How could you? How would I know? Li Lianhua straightened his robe. Did you know that in the last life, we went to Di Jia Bao to look for you? I see. Thanks a lot. Yo, Ah Fei. You will still say thank you. Li Lianhua teased. After all, it's still fun to tease the leader Di of the Golden Yuan Alliance. Ah Fei glared at him and didn't speak. Oh, okay. Just don't tease you. Really, not at all. Li Lianhua rubbed his nose, and his voice is getting quieter and quieter. Inside the palace late at night, Xuanyuan Shao was doing a routine check, when suddenly a black shadow flashed. What kind of person dare to trespass into the palace? Don't run. Hurriedly used light skills to chase after him. Li Lianhua, who was hiding on the side, saw Di Fei's voice luring people away, and hurriedly swept towards the location of the Paradise Tower that he knew. On the other side, Xuanyuan Shao chased the man in black to the outside of the imperial city, but saw a man with a mask waiting for him not far away. You wait for the rats to hide their heads and show their tails. Trespass into the palace, and they should be killed. Noise. Seeing the man attacking him with a palm, he didn't care about anything else, and hurriedly stretched out his hand to block. The fight here was hearty, but Li Lianhua over there entered the Paradise Tower very smoothly, found the mother's worm that was still sleeping in Luofei's skull, and hid it in his sleeve. I also found those murals with the secrets of the royal family, and his eyes were complicated. Now the Majesty is diligent and loves the people, and the people live and work in peace and contentment. And he really doesn't want to be the one who disturbs the court. Besides, he still likes his life now, so it's better to ruin it. Li Lianhua took out a bag of Y powder from his arms, and with a wave of his hand, he sprinkled Y powder on the mural, which is also magical. As soon as the Y powder touched the mural was corroded, revealing the wall tiles of the green behind. Li Lianhua grew a little angry, and it was finally over. When Li Lianhua arrived at the outskirts, what he saw was the two of them who were fighting. And the corners of their mouths were slightly curved, and he knew. Di Fei retreated from Xuanyuan Shao with a palm, and Zhengyu stepped forward again, but saw a stone flying and fixed Xuanyuan Shao. I felt a little regretful, but I also knew that now was not a good time to fight, so I didn't say anything, and left here with light skills. Xuanyuan Shao was frozen, and could only watch him fly away. The inspectorate will definitely catch you. The two who returned to the inn left the capital overnight. In the Lotus building, the two sat opposite each other. Li Lianhua took out the mother's worm from his sleeve and handed it to Di Fei Sheng. Di Fei Sheng took the mother's worm. The worm in his body seemed to sense something, and fled frantically. Di Fei Sheng hurriedly guided the worm out of his ears. The mother's worm flew up and ate the little worm, and then slowly flew back into Di Fei Sheng's hand, and fell asleep again. Di Fei let out a sigh of relief and laughed. Ah Fei ah, do you really trust me ah? And you are not afraid that I will do it again? Li Lianhua's bad taste returned. Di Fei raised an eyebrow. You won't. Li Lianhua rubbed his nose, stood up, and stretched. The leader D of the Golden Yuan Alliance, please go back. I'm tired tonight, I'm so sleepy. Di Fei Sheng took the mother's worm and left. A few days later, when Li Lianhua went to the clinic again, he heard that the Di Jia Bao where the dead soldier Pei Yang had suddenly disappeared overnight. But the strange thing was that only the master of the Di family died, and the others disappeared. Li Lianhua smiled and shook his head. This Ah Fei is really cold-hearted. Li Lianhua returned to the Lotus building with the vegetables he had just bought, and saw the sound of flute flying waiting at the door at a glance. The fate is good, the Golden Yuan Alliance. Li Lianhua entered the house as he spoke, and Di Fei followed into the house. He sat down on a stool and poured himself a cup of tea. Li Lianhua squinted at him. The leader D of the Golden Yuan Alliance, you're really welcome. Di Fei Sheng ignored him. He was used to this person's yin and yang weirdness. To this extent, he didn't care at all. Di Fei finished his tea and took out a small box from his arms. It's a mother's worm here, I brought it to you, I'm leaving. With that, he got up and walked out. Li Lianhua suddenly had a bad heart, and stretched out his hand to stay. Hey, Ah Fei, stay and leave after eating. The outsider paused, but walked faster. What are you kidding? Just the meal he cooks, he doesn't give it to the dogs. I don't know what's going on. Obviously this person doesn't have bitcha, but he still cooks unpalatable. Li Lianhua looked at Di Fei Sheng's embarrassed and fleeing figure with satisfaction, and laughed. After a few days, Di Fei Sheng appeared in the Lotus Tower again. Li Lianhua snorted impatiently and looked at Di Fei Sheng. I said, the leader D of the Golden Yuan Alliance, are you so idle? You run me here for 3 days. Di Fei Sheng pretended not to hear what he said. I came to ask you, what is going to happen to Luo Mo Ding? Li Lianhua stared at Di Fei Sheng and thought about it. What can I do? Do you know Chimin Dunjia or do I understand? Wait, in another 9 years, Shan Gudao will find someone to break the first-grade tomb. And then slowly figure it out. That Guanyin weeps, I want it. Wow tilde, it turns out that you hit on this idea. Ah, no problem. We'll talk about it then. It's still early. Li Lianhua raised his eyebrows. I'm going to retreat, and I'll see you in 9 years. In the next 8 years, Li Lianhua dragged his Lotus building all over the world. And when he had no money, he would treat people. Obviously he had no medical skills, but somehow it was rumored that he could heal the dead and bones. God is pitiful. He has only prescribed cold cream or something, but he can spread it so outrageously. In the last year, he did not run outside again, but returned to a small fishing village in the East China Sea. Take him to a very secret mine. Tronji Villa. A young man was pleading with the woman who was seated on the Lord's seat. "Oh, mother, just let me go. Please." The woman seated on the throne looked indifferent, completely ignoring her son's pleas. "Let me tell you, Fang Xiaobao, this is impossible. You can stay at home with peace of mind. You can't go anywhere, and it's impossible for you to go to Sigyamen and meet with Li Shangyi." When He Shalwi mentioned Li Shangyi's name, a trace of darkness crossed her eyes. Fang Duobing saw his mother's resolute face, and he also knew that he couldn't persuade his mother, so his eyes rolled, and he had an idea. "Home, if you don't let you go, you won't go." "Really?" Fang Duobing stomped his foot, turned around and ran out. He Shalwi stared at Fang Duobing's sick back suspiciously, wondering, why did this stinky boy give up so easily this time? But she didn't say anything more, just asked people to strengthen the patrol in the villa. "Stinky boy, see how you get out this time." Late at night, Fang Duobing, who had already been asleep, secretly opened his eyes, quietly took out a burden from under the bed, and quietly pushed the door and slipped out. He carefully dodged the waves of guards, but when he turned around, he almost fell on a person. Fang Duobing hurriedly covered his mouth and asked the person in front of him in a breathy voice. "Zon guard, why are you here?" "I thought, it's over, I've been caught." "Damn it." Zon Yunfei didn't talk, but took him to turn left and right and came to a wall. The weeds were overgrown under the wall, but Zon Yunfei pushed away the weeds and revealed a dog hole? Fang Duobing was a little confused. How could there be a dog hole, and this dog hole has been around for some years? Zon Yunfei turned to look at him, "So, I'll go first." With that, he walked away quickly. Fang Duobing looked at the dog hole in front of him without tears, thinking that he was also the young hall master of Tronji Hall. And he was actually reduced to the point of climbing the dog hole. Then he thought about it, as long as he could get out, he would be able to join the Sigu gate, and he would not be so resistant. When Fang Duobing crawled out of the dog hole in a sick and embarrassed manner, his white robe was already dirty and messy, but he couldn't care so much, for fear of being discovered. He rushed down the mountain. When He Shalwi found out the news of her son's escape the next day, she was very angry, but she couldn't stop being scared in her heart. "Xiao Bao, couldn't I change your ending in the first life?" When He Zhaofeng came to the big hall, what she saw was her big sister with her head down, looking depressed, and hurriedly stepped forward to settle down. "Big sister, don't blame yourself too much. We want to rewrite Xiao Bao's fate for another life, not to mention. Haven't you already sent someone to find Forgotten Flower?" He Shalwi looked up at her little sister, her eyes moist. "Zhaofeng, I'm just scared. I'm afraid that Xiao Bao will still end up in the previous life. I don't want Xiao Bao to." Again, He Zhaofeng's words changed. "Sister, haven't you really noticed that there is a big difference between this life and the previous life? You mean, Li Shangyi may also be? Why can't we, if we can do it all over again? Then he can, too." On the other side, Fang Duobing ran out of the house, but he still came to Sigyamen, this time without the company of the little maid and the maid. Fang Duobing still suffered a lot, but these hardships strengthened his desire to join Sigyamen and break into the rivers and lakes. Fang Duobing was afraid that his mother would chase after him. So he changed his name to Yuan Jianzhong, put on a mask and went to participate in the assessment of Sigyamen. Passed all the way, got the first, saw the 4 people of Fabi Baishi, and was just about to grant the door number, but was knocked off the mask by Shi Shui. Bai Zhang Quail was startled. "Fang Duobing is sick, why are you?" Fang Duobing felt a little strange. He had not walked on the rivers and lakes. His mother had always watched over him very strictly. This was the first time he had gone down the mountain. Lord Baiyuan. Why are you? I saw Bai Zhang Quail take out a bounty order from his arms. Above is a portrait of Fang Duobing's illness. Your mother has rewarded you with a lot of money, young Master Fang. You better go home. He waved his hand. Come on, send young Master Fang home. Fang Duobing was sick in disbelief, his eyes widened. The dog's eyes that were already big were even bigger at this time, but he couldn't care about it so much. Wait a minute, it was your Li sect master who called me here. Why didn't you even listen to my master's orders? The four of Fabi Baishi were all shocked, especially Yun Bichu, who almost crushed the teacup in his hand. Doormaster. Fang Duoji took out a small wooden sword from his boots, and the word Shangyi was engraved on the wooden sword. Through a narration, they believed Fang Duo's words. But it was not so easy for him to enter the Sigu gate, saying that it was for him to solve 3 cases before letting him join. And recently there happened to be a big incident. Wang Qingshan, the head of the Lingshan faction, actually became an immortal. Suspecting that someone deliberately made a ghost and killed him, the matter was not too big. So he fooled Fang Duobing to investigate this matter. Fang Duobing was not stupid, and he stole Shi Shui's house number before leaving, so that it was convenient to act.